Welcome back to the Navy Sports Magazine. We're presented by the Navy Federal Credit Union. Navy track and field team's going to be hosting Patriot League championships this weekend here in Annapolis. Please be joined by Katie Halbert. And Katie, as this thing starts to wind down, right now, how do you balance all of the noise? You've got graduation coming up in a couple of weeks, but you've also got important competitions here and some business to finish here on the way out the door here. But what is it like for you and your teammates trying to handle all of this in the last couple of weeks here of the school year?
Well, there's just so much happening right now, and I don't want to miss out on any of it. So it's just kind of enjoying everything while you're in the moment, because when I'm here with my classmates, like going to school, like that's what I want to focus on. Almost done with school, 2 more days. And then when I'm on the track, like I have very finite number of days left with like my teammates. So I want to make sure like every moment counts. And there's a few records that I still want to break or things that I want to accomplish. So just got to turn my mind to that and kind of focus on that. So it's very much so figure out what do I want to focus on, what do I want to prioritize, and still have fun doing everything no matter what. So
is that the key though to not only, even just to be a student at the academy is tough enough, but to be a Division I student athlete on top of it, prioritizing that day, making sure that you take care of that day first, and then we'll worry about the next day. Is that one of the keys to maintaining the type of success you've enjoyed here?
They talk about time management endlessly. I can't even say that I'm that good at it. I tend to waste a lot of my time. I had a lot of late nights for a long time until senior year, and I was like, okay, well, my bedtime is now midnight. But it definitely is like trying to figure out what are you going to put your energy into and what's not going to make the cut. Because it's no different from being an officer. There's going to be a lot of things that people need, and sometimes you're going to put aside your own things for other people's, and that's just part of the reality of like this job and this career. But this definitely prepares you kind of for what you're going to be expecting. But time management is something I constantly struggle with.
You were a 2-sport athlete in high school. You excelled both in track and obviously volleyball as well. When you look at the athlete that entered the Naval Academy and the one that now has had a very decorated career here, let's face it, the numbers speak for themselves. How different is the Katie Halbert that entered and the one that has really accomplished so much in her time here at the Naval Academy?
She wouldn't recognize me if she saw me now. I definitely came in and I thought I was mentally tough. I knew I wasn't that great of an athlete. I never intended to play sports in college. It wasn't what I thought was like my path. And so when I got reached out to by the Naval Academy, and I was like, well, this is kind of a path that sounds really interesting and unique. I've never considered it before. And I kind of fell in love with it from the get-go. But I did end up here like running track, and I never expected. But then I came in and I struggled a lot for the summer and the first year. And I didn't realize like how much growth I needed to have, how much maturity I was lacking. And you could see it on the track. I didn't like have any kind of major accomplishments my plebe year, but it didn't matter because my teammates were there and I made like my best friends I've ever had that plebe year. And that defined what I wanted to get out of track. It wasn't necessarily my athletic accomplishments. It was, what does this mean to me? And what am I creating here that's going to be lasting? And then I just kind of took my work ethic from them. John Finnegan, Clayton Thompson, a bunch of team captains, like awesome athletes. And I just kind of channeled that. And then the process worked. I'm not even sure if I could have predicted this amount of success I've had, and I'm incredibly grateful for it. But it was just a lot of people kind of guiding me and helping me in the right path, and a lot of work for a lot of years.
Yeah, and let's face it, you've done it in a number of different ways. You haven't just specialized in one thing. You've been blessed to handle it in a couple of many different ways, quite frankly, when you look at it during the course of your career. The fact that you've been able to spread that success over so many different types of disciplines, did that surprise you at all? Or is that just something that organically developed as you continued on competing here?
Well, I knew I was going to do hurdles, and I started with just the 60-meter hurdles indoors. And that was incredibly frustrating because if you didn't have a good race in 8 seconds, then you had nothing to recover from. So my first Patriot League championship ever, I misstepped the first hurdle, which is like an unforgivable offense. And I had nothing to like redeem myself with. So immediately in the outdoor season, I volunteered for the 400-meter hurdles because I couldn't stand the idea of only having one race. And it kind of just developed from there, because then I kind of defined myself by reaching out for as much as I could accomplish. I would have done the multis if I hadn't been injured. So the next year round, I was like, can I try the pentathlon? And they weren't really sure what I could accomplish, but they're like, yeah, go ahead and try it. And I think I kind of surprised them. I surprised myself in some ways. Long jump would probably be the number one place I've surprised myself, because I jumped 16.8 in high school, and my first jump in college, I jumped almost a foot farther than that. And it's just kind of developed from there. And now I'm jumping I jumped 3 feet farther than I did in high school. So, but it kind of just became more fun. Did the pentathlon, did well in it. So I picked up some more. This year I wanted to expand even more to be on the 4x1. Ended up working out really well. And as we move to Patriots, I'm trying to calculate how many events I can physically like accomplish, because there's always a spot if I can like find the energy for it. So
I had a chance to introduce you and the fellow captains at the spring sports banquet a couple of weeks ago. And just to listen to you all, talk on behalf mainly of your teammates, you mentioned earlier the leaders early in your career here at the Naval Academy. How do you think they would evaluate how you and your captains led, as this track program has set quite a high standard for itself and demands excellence of itself each and every year?
Well, it's kind of like having parents. I know they'd be proud. And they love Navy track and field. And I think that this year has just been record breaking in a lot of different ways, which is super exciting. I think they also say like there's always a lot of room to improve. And I agree with them 100%. You've never reached like your peak. There's always something more to accomplish. And there's just new goals and new standards. And next year when they start over with, hopefully, my like awesome replacements who I expect to be captain is already an inspiration to me. So I'm very confident in her abilities, but I think there's just going to be kind of a redefining the standards of what we're working for. And we're just going to keep the same work ethic with that kind of goal in mind.
Is that really ultimately the challenge of a senior and a leader, is to maintain the standard, but even try to, push it somewhere else that, those that come behind you, because I mean, there's sophomores that are going to be leaders one day. There's freshmen that are going to be leaders one day. Just to, if you've had that much influence on them at all, is that really ultimately the goal, is to try and leave it in a better place than when you found it?
I hope so. We met with all the other captains and we talked about legacy and how it's not really something that you can control. Like you don't even know it's happened until you're gone for multiple years. I didn't realize how much impact my like good friends, my plebe and sophomore year had on me until I was without them and trying to continue to emulate everything they taught me. So I just hope that I can have a positive impact on somebody, even if I don't realize it until I'm long gone. But that's why we have 6 captains on our team, is because with such a major team, hopefully there's somebody for everybody to look up to and respect of all of their footsteps. So
we know when you guys compete indoors, Wesley Brown gives you a tremendous advantage with one of the great indoor facilities. What is it like to have this at your outdoor facility coming up this week as you get ready to prepare for a potential Patriot League championship?
There are benefits and there are disadvantages as well, because we know the track really well and we're going to have that ability to kind of like own the turf, and if like have people come and support, it'll be really, really awesome. But you lose kind of that mental focus that happens when you travel, just because there's so much going on at the academy the entire time. If you're in your room, if you're in Bancroft, someone's going to need something from you, someone's going to want something from you. There are 100 things that'll pull for your attention. So it'll definitely be kind of a challenge to figure out how to focus and prioritize, because especially for the younger kids, like there's a lot of people who expect different things from them. Like why aren't you going to be choppy in the hallway? You're like, I am actively competing in a championship meet. I get texts being like, oh, well, we have like a beat down workout. Like I want to go with my classmates, but it's championship week. And I was like, yep. Make sure you know like what's most important to you. Like the team needs you to be healthy and the team needs you to put like that where your like priorities are. It's like, but so it'll be good because we know the track, but hopefully everyone can keep their same championship kind of competition mindset going.
Katie, certainly been a pleasure to watch you and your fellow seniors compete. Best of luck as you try to secure another Patriot League championship this weekend.
Thank you so much. Most importantly, we got to beat Army.